This will call the Sanger City Council into regular meeting on April 20th, 2026 at 7:05 p.m. If you will, please rise for the invocation to be led by Councilman Bilyeu, followed by the pledge to be led by Councilman Burris.
Please join me in a short prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening and just thank you for the many blessings that you bestowed on each one of us. We thank you for this opportunity to allow us to come here and serve the citizens, and we thank you for all those in attendance today, especially the staff and the first responders. Lord, we, as we tackle the issues that face our community, we ask that you grant us strength and wisdom and courage to make the tough decisions and do what's in the best interest of the citizens of our town. Finally, Lord, we just ask for your blessings on those that are less fortunate than us. We ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. The first item, as usual, on our agenda is our citizens' input time. Anyone wishing to speak before council is welcome to do so. We usually allot about 3 minutes, but we're really not very sticklers on that. I do like to try to get a citizens' input form from you if you eventually, but you don't have to have that to come up right away, but we do have citizen input forms back there for anyone wishing to speak. And I do have one citizen input form here, I think just one, from Terry Cornwell. You'd be welcome to come and speak for us.
I'm going to try this today.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Terry Cornwell, and I am the board president for the Sanger Texas Senior Center. A saga that started slightly over 2 years ago is finally getting ready to shift gears. I'm going to be honest with y'all. This was a journey I had no idea I was going to be on. Sanger Seniors, we simply thought that we were leaving the Sullivan Building so it could get repaired, renovated, for all those senior programs to be able to return to it. Well, as we know, that really wasn't the case that ended up happening. Definition of tenacity is the sustained effort and refusal to quit, holding on to a goal. Our goal was to have a thriving senior center here in Sanger, to fill a need where a growing void had existed. The definition of resilience is that unwavering determination to continue to bounce back and adapt. We have needed both over the last 2 years. Tenacity has given us the mental strength and the perseverance, knowing our goal was an important one for the greater good of the whole Sanger community. And resiliency was needed to kind of stick along with the long timelines and stay focused and believe in our outcome. So on behalf of the Sanger Texas Senior Center Board, I want to thank the mayor, all the city council members, the city manager, for making an insightful, very supportive decision around a year ago. That was to redirect budgeted funds that was meant for renovating that old site and use them in a new way. Thanks to that direction, there's a new senior center sitting downtown on a corner. It's been there since November. We've watched as Ryan and his crew have completed the finishing touches to the building and its site. And we want to express our appreciation for being included in that planning phase of that building and everything, all the details and the decisions all along the way. Of course, there's been activity happening behind the scenes on our part. Our board has grown from the familiar presence of the 4 core members that you're familiar with: Sherry Knighton, Heather Hamilton, Peggy Williams, and myself. We've added 2 other board members, Phyllis Pittman and Christine Stuckey. A lot of time has been committed to getting all our necessary paperwork and policies and procedures and ideas of programs so we could open the doors, as well as listening to community input so that we would be prepared to be able to meet the needs. Well, last Tuesday, Ryan finally presented those facility keys to us. And all I could think of was, wow, it really happened. By Wednesday, though, we were already moving things in. Our things from city storage was being brought over. Brian's crew helped out. We even had a piano parade to bring our vintage piano back. So thanks to you, Mayor Muir, and all the rest of you for supporting a very small group of determined seniors that have been intent on accomplishing a goal to reopen a senior center in Sanger, for believing that Sanger would be gaining an asset to our community. And it is my distinct pleasure to be standing here tonight, inviting you all on May 7th to our ribbon cutting and our open house event. And our goal to open our doors 100% will be hopefully before the end of the month. So thank you all so very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for all y'all's work along the way. Anybody else wishing to speak during the citizens' input time? Okay. The next item on the agenda is reports. We were able to go through during work session to have the municipal court and the HR, Human Resources Department report. I don't know if there's any comments from council. I think we covered everything. We got good reports. We appreciate the work of both of those groups on behalf of the city and the citizens in the city and our staff, the HR department. And I'll open it up to see if anybody, we talked about it a little bit in work session, but make sure there wasn't anything else council would like to share on that front. Again, thank y'all for taking the time to come out. Council, that brings us to our consent agenda, which has we briefly, more than briefly discussed a couple of things with city manager and then with the fire chief, the action with regard to funding the total rehab of the downtown fire station at $5.2 million. It's on the consent. If you feel like you need to pull it to discuss it further, we certainly can. Since we got to discuss it, you may be fine voting it.
Unless somebody wants to pull it, I feel comfortable.
Okay.
That was brief. I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the proposal with CORE on the remodel of the downtown fire station with total project not to exceed the approved budget of $5.2 million.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I've got a motion by Councilman Bilyeu, seconded by Councilman Gann to approve the consent agenda item related to the downtown fire station as presented. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by raising your hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you. What I'm going to do at this point, because we have one council member here who's a little bit under the weather, but she's doing us a favor and appreciate her coming out. We have some bond issuance that we really need to make sure we have a certain number of us here for vote. So I'm going to take item 8 and I'm going to move it next on our agenda. So we'll go to item 8, which is consider and take possible action on ordinance 04-1426, authorizing the issuance of the City of Sanger, Texas General Obligation Refunding Bonds, Series 2026, and containing other matters related thereto. We'll let Ted, our financial advisor on the bond.
As we talked about earlier, I'll summarize it real quick for you. The sale today, the gross savings is $434,000. PV that's about $404,000. So it's down a little bit from February. Rates are up because of the war, but they're down from where they were 3 or 4 weeks ago. So they went way up. They've come about halfway back down, and we kind of caught where we feel like it's a pretty good time to just take it and run. So that's the numbers. So if anybody has any questions.
Basically, this is paying off some bonds that were issued at higher rates, and we're getting to pay them
Correct.
off, kind of refund them and get the interest rate benefit. from
Correct.
that.
It averages out to about gross amount of about $39,500 a year of real dollar
Savings to the city.
Savings to the city, correct.
Yeah. Any other questions for Ted on the bond? I know we've looked at it some time ago, and postponed it once, and
Right.
coming back here. Any other questions anybody has on it? Anytime we can save like that, we want to do so.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, you looking for a motion?
Well, I guess I need a motion, and then I think it's a roll call
It
vote,
is.
correct? Okay. Yeah, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 04-14-26, authorizing the issuance of the City of Sanger, Texas General Obligation Refunding Bond, Series 2026, and containing other matters related thereto.
Okay, I've got a motion by Councilman Billiard. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, I've got a second by Councilman Burris to approve ordinance 04-14-26, authorizing the issuance of the City of Sanger, Texas General Obligation Refunding Bonds, Series 2026, and containing other matters related thereto. This will be a roll call vote, so I think I'd ask the secretary to do the roll call vote.
Councilmember Newton, how do you vote? Yes. Councilmember Burris,
Yes.
Councilmember Gann,
Yes.
Councilmember Billiard.
Yes.
We'll note for the record, and it'll be on the ordinance here, that Councilman Chick's not available at the meeting. So it passes with those present, passes unanimously, and we'll get all the paperwork filled out to get that done.
There's one sheet, and if you can sign it real quick.
Yeah. Which one do you want?
And Babes is not open today.
What's that?
Babes is not open, so you don't have to get there. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
So does that get what you need, Ted?
Yes, sir, I just have to send this to the writer, so there's a time with the SEC, time you vote, you have to note that, and that's what they take it from there.
Great. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so is there anything else we need to know from you, Ted? Are we good?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, now we can back up. I appreciate you indulging us on that switch just to make sure we got that covered, because that was a little more logistics needed to happen there. Okay, that'll bring us, we'll go back and do item 6 here, which is to conduct a public hearing on a request for a specific use permit, SUP, for outside sales and display for approximately 4.052 acres of land from A0029A RBB Track 64A within the city of Sanger and generally located approximately 320 feet south of the intersection of FM 455 and Sable Creek. We'll call the public hearing open at 7:19 and let staff do an intro, and then we'll take any input anybody would like to give in the public hearing.
Yes, this is part of Sanger Town Center South. It's a development that you have seen, we've done a PD on. Per their PD requirements, anything that has outdoor sales or display has to have an SUP. So that's the reason we're bringing the SUP before you. This actually is a potential Tractor Supply who would like to go in this area, and they have part of their display is outside, so that's why this is coming before you. We did send out 37 notices, 1 response in favor and 1 opposed. And then P&Z recommended approval on 3-9.
Okay.
And just to give you a little bit more information, everything along the residential area through there has to be buffered, and there will be a wall and a landscape buffer that buffers that from that residential area. And that's for all of that development,
Okay.
not just for outdoor sales.
Okay. All right, so this is public hearing time. You know, council is welcome to hear from anybody interested in speaking on the item, and we'll take that. We can deliberate on the action item later. So if you will, if you're wishing to speak, if you'll state your name and address for the record, we're happy to hear from you.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Juan Vasquez with Vasquez Engineering, 1919 South Shallow Road, Garland, Texas, 75042. I'll be here representing the developer, HBC Interest, who is has the property under contract. They are preferred developer for Tractor Supply. Hopefully you know who they are. National firm, 2,500 stores throughout the country. The closest one, Denton and Gainesville. And like McDonald's, like Walmart, like everybody else, Tractor Supply has their prototype. And so we have a 25,000 square foot outside display area next to the store. And then we have permanent display in front of the store and also in the parking lot. And that's the whole reason that we're here for this SUP here today.
Very good.
Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Yeah, and when we get to action item, we may. So I'm glad you gave the introduction there for that though, and now I think we have someone interested in speaking. So just your name and address for the record, and we're happy to hear from you.
Sure. My name is Laura Fernberg. I live at 94 North Highland Drive, which is in Sable Creek. I was at the last meeting, and I was the one that voted in favor of the request. I don't have an issue with the SUP at all, because like I said, I think in the last meeting that I attended, there are worse things we could have built behind our houses. I mean, so Tractor Supply, I'm good with. I mean, I'd rather see that than some other options that could be back there. Okay, so let me just put that out there right now. You know, I think I said before, I'd rather have nothing back there so I can have my little creatures. So anyway, so that's enough said. But I still want a 10-foot fence or a 10-foot barrier wall behind my house. I have little dogs, a little Yorkie that I don't want in your property. Okay? She's little. She's going to get out from under that fence at some point, and I don't want her in that property. I want a 10-foot barrier, sound barrier, nice trees, nice landscape between us. I want that. I don't think that's too much to ask. You go to other cities, a little bit bigger than us, a little bit smaller than us, between the houses and commercial property, it's there. I don't think that's too much to ask. So again, I said I would go with the SUP. Here's my sheet. But the second time I say yes, but again, I want that barrier. You know, my house is on there, and I think I'm the only one that comes to these meetings.
Okay. We appreciate you taking the time. Anybody else? Thanks, Ted. Anybody else wishing to speak during the public hearing item here? Okay. See no one else stepping forward to speak, we'll close the public hearing at 7:24. That brings us to item 7, which is the action item, which is consideration and action on ordinance number 404-1626, a request for a specific use permit, SUP, for outside sales and display for approximately 4.052 acres of land from A0029A, RBB, Tract 64A, within the city of Sanger and generally located approximately 320 feet south of the intersection of FM 455 and Sable Creek. Anything else staff would like to comment on?
No, I will, like I said, I'll reiterate again, there will be a fence. The requirements in the PD are 6 to 8 feet high masonry and then a landscape barrier in addition to that.
So it's not quite as tall as what was requested in the public hearing. Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of things.
Yeah.
You know, every time an SUP comes up, I always look for some finite timeline, or I know in the past we've had two stipulations in there, either a finite timeline for 2 years, 4 years, 5, whatever the time is, but also if it changes ownership. SUPs, as I think everyone appears well aware of, is they'll run with it. I just think that if it changes hands or anything else, future councils need to be able to see if that meets the criteria. So I did not see that in this ordinance, and I'm willing to do a longer one. Normally we do 2 to 4 years, willing to do a 5 years, but still would like some time frame where we can look at it and just in case it does change hands. So those two things, 5 years, and then if it changes ownership, then they would have to come and reapply.
Can I say something here?
Sure.
I think that in this situation, since they are building a ground-up building, the timeline is not as tasteful, I guess, in this situation. Maybe a better way to put that. But for certain, if the business changes, if it changes from Tractor Supply to another business, that I could see that making sense. I don't know that.
I just know in the past that we've had people come here, and whether it's Tractor Supply or anyone else, we've had national chains presented that never materialized. And it may very well be a Tractor Supply. That's fine. I don't think that's too much to ask, because if we don't put a timeline on it or anything else, that SUP is going to run. And if it's not a Tractor Supply, it could be anything else that has outdoor sales.
Correct, and that's why I was saying I agree 100% with if you want to put it on Tractor Supply. I don't know that a building's going to be willing to put forth the financial upfront to build the building for 5 years and a chance that it may get taken away at that point.
I know, and once again, I'm back to that point. The assumption is they are putting that up, and I hope they do. But it's not about who the occupant coming. I just want to be clear. It's about whatever occupant takes it first. If they leave, the next occupant. So
Yes.
I would like a.
Yes.
I know we've talked about that in the past, and I'm a big fan of tying it to whatever business made the request. I think that makes sense.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's all I'm
I think
saying.
that makes sense.
You-
Absolutely.
I mean, I want to forget who the occupant is and just say, if we're going to grant this for an occupant that wants to come in and have outdoor sales, that's great. You leave the name out. And we'll do that. We understand what they're selling. But if that changes,
Then
we
yes.
want to come back, because it may not be something we want for outdoor sales
Correct.
next time around.
I agree with that 100. I can
Okay.
agree with that 100%. Yes.
Is that something we can just include in the motion?
We can amend it.
Just trying to figure out how that wording would need to be.
I think it's just those two things. Approve it with the amendments that it's for 5 years.
I think that's
That's what-
a killer, Gary.
I think it is
that's a
too.
deal killer
But why
problem.
is that a killer?
Because when you're putting that kind of upfront capital into something, you don't want to take a chance that in 5 years that's going to go away. You may have a whole new council sitting here that says, we're tired of Tractor Supply.
Okay.
We want it to go away.
What if it's not Tractor Supply?
If you're
But
tying
That's
it
the
to
use.
the,
I want
That's
the
what we're
motion
saying.
to be only approving the special use permit for
For
Tractor
Tractor
Supply. I don't care if it's a mini Home Depot that has outdoor gardening stuff or a different kind of Ace Hardware, but that's not what I'm worried about. I'm okay
I
with
understand that,
the
but-
specific business.
City manager, would you?
I have concerns when you nail it down to a specific corporate entity, just from the zoning standpoint. Zoning typically does not work in that manner, where we say if it's at McDonald's, it's okay, but if it's not okay. You can certainly tie it to the ownership. I think let me preface this by saying the council can do as they see fit. They can tie it to anything they choose. But that question would be because Tractor Supply is not really your applicant here. I mean, so that question becomes, is probably a question more for the developer as to where they are in the process of Tractor Supply. We know that they developed the Tractor Supply. This is not speculative. Is Tractor Supply the occupant? You know, in which case you could tie it back to the applicant who is applying on behalf of Tractor Supply. I mean, are those questions that you can answer
Can, yeah,
That'd be- yeah.
is that, we're looking for an answer from them?
I would-
Or we would table this to bring it back to get this clarity?
I would suggest if you get an answer on it.
Yeah.
If this is a concern, yeah, I would.
And I would
I'll
also say
ask
the
that.
letter of intent does state.
Yeah,
Tractor
I mean, I'll
Supply.
ask that.
You want to come and speak?
Yeah.
I guess the issue we have is we're tied to the property owner. Because as you know, the property is currently undeveloped. And Tractor Supply is not a developer. We're not gonna build roadways, we're not gonna extend utilities. So until the developer, we wanna get the use approved, 'cause that's part of our entitlement process. But we're not gonna build the roadways, we're not gonna build the utilities that come to our site. And so we're also not going to start until that's there. So as far as timing, we're tied to them. And I don't know where they are. I know they're still working on their plan, their engineering
They are.
plans. So until that gets approved, you know, we have an SUP, but we can't get started until the infrastructure's there. And then we build our pad. But we gotta get the SUP approved, because if we cannot get an SUP, there's no point in us being here.
So is Tractor Supply committed or not committed?
As far as I know, they are committed, but of course, it's all dependent on the property seller.
Correct.
If he doesn't deliver infrastructure, then we don't have a site.
That's fair. And I think a lot of the SUPs that we've seen in the past were more business owner for their own individual business, which is maybe where this one looks a little bit different for us here.
And I do work for a bunch of different tenants, and we do SUPs for a lot of automotive. And typically the SUPs, if for some reason Tractor Supply goes bankrupt or leaves, and someone else comes in, they gotta come back before you to get another SUP.
Yeah, but that's not the way it's written right now, and that's all we're trying to do, is put a mechanism to trigger that, that's all.
You know, we're a farm and home use. So I don't know if you want to write it for a farm and home use, that's what, because we're not fast food, we're not strictly like mercantile retail, we're farm and home is typically what we are.
Right.
There's only a few of us that do this.
Yeah, I think if you tied it to the use, nailed down the use a little better, and
So we can amend that however you guys would like to see that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be disco, I just don't want a carte blanche blanket for anything, whether that makes or not.
Correct.
That's all.
And I just didn't want to put a brand new building tied to a number of years.
That's,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Well, yeah, and typically those are 15-year leases, and so we could work on the time. But if it's, makes more sense to tie it to the applicant for, what do you say, it was outdoor for farm and home? Farm and home?
Instead of just blanket outdoor sales.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Then we can do that.
Certainly.
Could we kind of, in there, I'm trying to remember what's in there. Is there any way to say, to run with the initial certificate of occupancy, and upon any future change of certificate of occupancy, that, so that it would come back to us if, trying to get to Gary's deal, somewhere in between, is tie it to certificate of occupancy. So we grant it for farm and home use for the prospective SUP, for the prospective initial occupant. Any subsequent certificate of occupancy request would require a new SUP. Is that a fair?
Yeah, I mean, you could issue it, I mean, you have a list of applicants there as well. You know, you have the property owner and the developer there, you could tie it to them as well. You know, you could issue it if there's a change to the original applicants on any side. Then you could have review it again, I mean, yeah.
Well, if the developer's applying now for the Tractor Supply, I don't know if they're gonna buy it from the developer and own it, so that's a change in applicant.
Yeah.
So if that's, I mean, I don't want
We don't
Tractor
have to-
Supply to
we don't
come
have to-
right away
yeah,
back to its
right.
SOP, so I was thinking you tie it to that,
Yeah.
allow the SUP for the for farm and home use, outdoor sales, farm and home use, specifically, for the expected initial occupant. Any subsequent certificate of occupancy after the initial one, the SUP would need to be revoted. I don't know how you do that, but I don't know. Is that crazy?
You're good, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to tie it to the applicant in some way, shape, or form.
Well, the applicant's who's gonna apply for the certificate of occupancy?
It would be
They're right
Tractor
there.
Supply. It would be
Yeah.
Tractor Supply.
But I mean because Tractor Supply is not making the application.
Yeah, I understand. So they need to try it to this
Yeah.
applicant.
Yeah,
But the CO will be Tractor Supply.
well, yeah. I mean,
Yes,
But that's what I'm saying.
once it's built in,
We'll approve the applicant and
Okay.
initial farm and home use occupant, approved as requested by the current applicant for farm and home use for initially. Any second or subsequent CO, I don't know why, that's still tying it to the applicant, is it not?
Yeah,
I mean, you want to
Yes,
make some
yes.
suggested language, I'm happy to hear it. I mean, we're just trying to wordsmith here for a minute, so I'm not taking ownership of those words. I just want to get to a spot that will bring it back to us when the use changes.
Yeah, we've seen it
Yes.
similar where you'll have the use farm and home, AKA similar to Tractor Supply.
Ah,
So it's clear that you know that farm and home, yeah.
similar to, okay.
Are you good with similar to?
Yeah, he says AKA similar to Tractor Supply, at least then you get the wording in there,
yeah.
farm and
Yeah,
home use.
it goes, it's because when you look at the application itself, you have, HBC interest, SB Sanger, but they have issued the use of Tractor Supply.
Right.
As in, the appearance would be that they are applying on behalf of Tractor Supply. You just have a weird situation there.
Yes. If council's okay with that language that says farm and home use, in a similar nature to that of Tractor Supply, call it at that.
Does that work for, I don't know how, I'm not familiar with the CO
I mean,
process and any other issues with that with those on
well,
the staff side.
if
Does
they
that work?
left, if Tractor Supply left, whoever comes in would have to get a new CO.
Absolutely.
And that when I want to kick off
Yeah.
The new-
next deal, right?
Yeah. And I mean, this is what creates a problem, right? You're entitling something you don't know for sure
Right.
is coming to make it come.
Well, if we put farm and home use of a like nature or similar to Tractor Supply, then you can't really get, that's pretty definitional. You
Yeah.
can't get too far afield with that, I wouldn't think.
no, that
So-
leaves you a couple of companies
Yeah,
possible.
yeah,
Yes.
kind of limits it.
But that covers the initial, but it doesn't cover anything in the future. I mean, by leaving it like that, if it was Tractor Supply and they left, it would be something similar to Tractor
Yeah,
Supply that
they'd
came
have to
back.
have
And if everyone's good with that being there for perpetuity, then that's fine.
It changed from farm use similar to Tractor Supply, they'd have farm and home similar to Tractor Supply, they'd have to come and get a new one, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, again, knowing that the way they're applying and understanding the application, we know that it will change. You can still tie it to the application itself. That you're issuing the SUP, based on the application, if there's a change in any party, you can bring it in for review. They state it's Tractor Supply at the bottom.
No, but where do you put that second part in there if there's any change?
I don't,
I suppose that language is just, or any change in occupancy requiring a new certificate of occupancy, which is any time the business changes.
That's what I'm after, any change in occupancy after the initial tenant?
Anytime.
It's just an occupant, initial occupant, because they might not be the tenant.
Or any change
Might just own it.
in occupancy, that's enough? Okay.
Why don't you take a stab at a motion and then we'll
I
see.
will.
Yeah,
All right, are we ready?
yep.
All right. Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 04-16-26, a request for a special use permit for outside sales and display for approximately 4.052 acres of land from the A0029A RBB Tract 64A within the city of Sanger and generally located approximately 320 feet south of the intersection of FM 455 and Sable Creek, with the condition that this is for home and farm outdoor sales similar to Tractor Supply, and it'd be, and this, the last part, or any change in occupancy. That's all I have to say.
Can you repeat it?
Thank you. As stated, for home and farm outdoor sales similar to Tractor Supply, or any change in occupancy. Okay.
Okay. I've got a motion by Councilman Bilyeu that we've worked through here. Do I hear a second for that motion?
I'll second.
All right, I've got a motion. I'll try to reiterate it just for clarity and to triple check ourselves here. So this is a motion approving ordinance number 04-1626, a request for specific use permit, SUP, for outside sales and display for approximately 4.052 acres of land from A0029A RBB Tract 64A within the city of Sanger, generally located approximately 320 feet south of the intersection of FM 455 and Sable Creek, with the stipulation that it be for farm and home outdoor sales, similar to that of Tractor Supply, and be allowed until any other change in occupancy. Any other discussion on the motion? Or did I get that close enough?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Any other discussion on it at all? Okay. All in favor of the SUP motion indicate by raising your hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you,
out,
Council.
helping us with that.
Thank you.
Manager.
Council, you've got future agenda items there. Is there anything you'd like to mention for staff to look into for future agenda? Okay. Not hearing any and seeing no other items of business, I'll call this meeting adjourned at 7:42.